Hello, how are you guys doing? I know I haven't made a video in a long time, but hopefully I can start video logging some of this project that I've been working on and having a great deal of fun with. So far we're calling this Vanguard. Got a lot of new units, experimenting with some fundamental RTS shenaniganry, so it should be fun. We'll start with some kick-ass units that we've cooked up. This unit is called the Herald. Think of it as a Protoss heavy bomber. It does that. There's a lot of time for you to actually just run away and dodge shots, but so far it's been just hilariously fun to use in actual games, because it's not like you just dodge the shot and you're done. This thing will keep hounding and following your troops and just laying bombs everywhere, and then you'll send units to defend versus it and they'll get caught in the bombs. It's quite a bit of fun. It also has an upgrade that increases the Herald's shields by 60. So I mean, this thing is built to be tough and endure some combat, but at the same time its shots have a lot of counterplay. This is the new Colossus. It's at Robo Facility Tech instead of the full robotics bay. That's where the Immortal is now. This unit has a small splash. Feels single shot, but if you're hitting stacked probes, you're going to fry a couple of them. Cliff walks, doesn't walk over units, so you actually have to be very careful about where you're positioning these units. They have 5 range. You don't want them directly on front lines. You want them as sort of this micro side flanker, fire support walker unit, because they are relatively fragile for their cost. Yeah, 175, 75. Next up we have the Immortal. It does this. Packs quite a punch, only gains energy when it's standing still, so you really gotta commit to one spot. I still want to tweak it, but it is pretty good against frying low HP units. The fact that it has 13 range lets you use it as a pressure unit against any sort of static D. And on the Zerg side, Zergling, Hydra, Lurker, some favorites, and here are some new units. Ignore these guys, they don't count. Death. This is the Swarm Host. Or, I don't think we have a nickname for it yet. Either way, it has an ability to put down 3 banelings, sort of like spider mines. They work in a similar function. And you can also replenish those banelings by burning gas to actually restock them. Very costly to do so. You better make sure it's worth it. But you do get those first 3 free. The second function of it is that it has an anti-armor air attack at a decently long range. So these guys are going to make pretty quick work of any armored air targets. So definitely in the vein of the Goliath, and definitely helps out Zerg with some anti-air capability. While they're obviously not suited to dealing with ground, they certainly have a decent bit of help in dealing with ground. So they're not an entirely one-trick pony. Very fun unit. Obviously doesn't replace the Lurker in terms of map control style unit, but it definitely helps out and gives us some versatility. Another unit, which is going to be replaced by the green Roach model, and instead of knocking up units, it's going to kind of ensnare them. This is a unit that will basically have a targeted burrow. So it'll kind of lock up units. They're decently meaty for their cost, but they will help out and support and catch units. Should be fun. So a bit of variety on that low tier, 1.5 tier sort of unit. We also have instead of the Guardian or the Brood Lord, we have the Viper. Currently this is a really fragile, these guys are hard to keep alive if you got Blink Stalkers fighting you, but we got 11 range, so they're good at actually sieging and abusing dead space. They also have a ability to kind of root something really temporarily, and also put down some creep. Units in this game get 1.1 extra speed from creep, but I think we're replacing their attack with something that actually puts down a little pull of acid. So acts as sort of a very minor plague sort of thing. So, fun unit. The Viper model just works perfectly for this. Additionally, we have some cool new systems in place. First off, I'll show you is the mining management system. So, when a unit goes idle, it will give you a little bit of leeway time, a grace period, if you will, for you to manually do it yourself, but they will fix saturation on their own. I'm going to have an ability that will, you'll right-click it, it'll disable the management system for that particular unit. And if you see these numbers here, it's calculating the current mining units and the max saturation here, and that's what it's using to actually do all this. So once it goes up to 4, it'll push this number all the way up to 12. If I push it up any further, so let's go to 16 workers and see what happens. Oh yeah, I haven't explained the economy. These gold mineral patches mine a little bit faster than the blue ones do. It's still more efficient for 1 per patch, but it adds a nice little curve gradient to the mining. So that first worker is worth 100%, and then it drops all the way down to like 75%, I believe, per worker. But it is a max of 2 workers per patch, so it is a low worker count game. And these workers are a little bit more vicious than SC2 workers. They have a moving shot and 1 range, so they can actually fry down a zealot. It's pretty hilarious to see. Oh, what do we have here? Probes! I didn't tell you to do this. Game. So yeah, they are automatically transferring because they see that this base has under its saturated worker count. See this 1? That denotes that it has under saturation. If it turns to a 0, like this base is, you can barely make out that 0. It means that it's at 12 saturation or full saturation or more. So it won't transfer any probes to a base that has full saturation or more. Additionally, these units won't transfer to a base that already has full saturation or more. So pretty intelligent system that if a player has completely screwed up their saturation during a transfer after you harass them, say they move, say they have like 30 workers and 15 on each base, and they move half of them, or like all of them to one base, and they only move half of those back. So now they've got like 5 workers on their expansion, and they've got like 25 workers on their main. Yeah, that'll just get you flat out killed. Obviously, if you're a better player and you do it manually, you're going to get more money since there's that leeway and grace period time built in. But it will stop you from just flat out dying and just kind of starving out really fast and not having anything whatsoever. So it's a bit of an interesting experiment we're working with. We're also going to be playing with auto building probes. This game is also going to feature a bit more open maps and closer rush distances, so it's more skirmishy, more like people punching each other all the time sort of gameplay, and so far that's held to be true. And what's really required to make that happen is some more defender's advantage, and In this case, we've even got a Psionic Storm that doesn't deal friendly damage, just flat out on the Nexus. While the Hive has a ability, oh, Hatch, sorry. Obviously, we need to add that to the Hive as well. But this has energy 100, my bad. I was going to be like, yeah, I'm going to be prepared. There we go. This one has an ability that does this. Very brief, but the more you dodge it, the less you're going to be affected by this little plague buff. So you see how much it can hurt. You're going to minimize that damage by reacting to it sooner. Since it rapidly puts these plague behaviors on these units. What else? Oh yeah. So in this game, Warpin just takes 20 seconds. That's Warpin. Simple as that. It's a very big window to actually kill these units if they're out and about, and warping right on your main. So it's really hard to like just constantly be warping units on top of your army. Lastly, oh yeah, I guess I can just show off all these triggers that had to go in to making this minor management system work. It's it was some work, I will tell you that. Alright, so hopefully this ends up being something fun and worth playing. I've had a lot, it's given me that feel of Starbow and Brood War, where it's more fun to play a player who's not as good as me, and it's more fun to play a player who's better than me, just because you feel like you have more of a shot and it's less of a one-sided stomp pretty early on. Yeah, should be fun. Stay tuned, guys.